one of my
Yes.
hopes that we'd all join together and do some of these things. So, so I'm going to let Diane Red Relief is going to introduce Cynthia, and then we'll turn it over to Cynthia. Okay.
And it kind of helps if you ask me questions, because my story is
I'll do that. I'm going to do that. Don't
good.
worry. Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to give people a little bit of a background on how we came to connect with Cynthia and Austin People's Action Center. I think almost everybody knows me on this call. I'm Diane Redleaf. I've been a member of West Suburban Temple Har Zion for 25 years. My background is as a civil rights and family and child advocacy lawyer. So this topic of working with social service agencies, helping families is really close to my heart. And I think all of us, you know, had been really affected by the pandemic. And then on top of it, the issues of racial justice, violence and gun violence and other issues that, you know, affect our community, but we know affect Austin community, you know, very deeply. So we wanted to reach out to an organization, a social service organization in the Austin community that we could partner with and support. And we discovered Austin People's Action Council through our center, APAC. And it just happens, and I'm sure this will be one of my questions for you, is they are 40 years this month in operation. Cynthia is the founder. She has been with the organization for that entire time. And she founded it when she was 18 years old, which I think is a story in itself. So I want to hear that one in terms of how she's founded the organization and led it. And then I hope we can talk about the organization itself and its programs, the needs it's meeting, the populations it's serving, all the issues that they see, and then of course, what we can do. So with that, I wanted to, if you could please, I'll try to field the questions. So if you just put your questions in the chat, I hope my own internet doesn't flake out on me, which it sometimes does. If it does, I will be back. So just keep going. Don't wait for me. You know, it sometimes just flickers out, but I'll be back. So, and I will just try to field the questions, but I'd like to just welcome Cynthia, who has been wonderful, has spoken to our committee. We're very excited to introduce her to our larger community today. And I just wanted to kick it off with, how did you get started and start Austin People's Action Center?
Well, actually, I started out of my mom's house. So we were always the house on the block that did everything, provided food, my mom was the Black Club president. My father was also too. So really everything we did got started really out of my house, which at the time we were living across the street from, I don't know if most of you've heard about Third Unitarian Church. So we really started seeing, well, the people on my block used to complain about this church, which was Third Unitarian Church, that used to come in on Sunday, take up all the park, and then they rush back out with, you know, nothing happening at the church and in the community and so forth. So one day, I just wandered over to the church and started talking to the church secretary. And I volunteered to work with her, and I started working with her on newsletters and so forth. And then one day she asked me to come to church with her. And I went to church with her, and to make a long story short, I ended up joining the church at the time and being one of the only Black, well, two, but the only youngest Black member on the board. I mean, not on the board, but a church member. and they asked me to do a needs assessment of what was needed in the church, in the community. And so I told them about what was needed. They gave me a phone book, a desk, and a telephone, and set me in the church nursery. And I started calling around the community, seeing what some of the needs were. And mostly we had a lot of seniors who needed help. We had a lot of young moms who needed guidance. And the first two programs I started was a helpline, a young moms program, and my mother was over the senior citizen program. So we really started it not knowing that we were going to start an organization. And a lot of the church members at the time helped me to start the APAC. I had no idea about non-for-profits. I had no idea about fundraising or anything. And so we just started doing activities in the church. The church started allowing us to have different events. I got a group of about 10 or 12 kids to come over to join the church. And, they did all kinds of field trips, activities, and so forth. And eventually I was asked to join the board. I became the first Black person to join the board of Third Unitarian Church. And I became an active member. I became very involved, and we started doing various different things that was needed in the community. We opened up a food pantry. We put it in the coat room. We started doing a helpline. We started a senior drop-in center where the seniors would come and knit and make arts and craft. And the young moms would come, and we would just talk about how to care for our babies. And so it really led me into starting a number of programs that, sadly to say, half of the church agreed with letting Blacks in the church and the other half didn't. And so I started getting challenged early on when we first got started. So the church kind of started feuding and kind of divided, and they didn't want me doing food, issuing out food in the coat room. So every Sunday I would have problems with that because they'll take out the food and leave it all out, scattered all over, because they wanted to hang their coats in the coat room and they didn't want to see poverty, some of them. So to make a long story short, half of them, they wanted to close the church. So what ended up happening, they split. Half of them stayed at Third Unitarian Church, and half formed a church in, I think in Oak Park, called Beacon Temple, Beacon Unitarian Church. So I end up, of course, staying with the church for as long as I could, because it was a lot of, we went through a lot of changes, or I went through a lot of changes, but there was a group who stuck with me to the end, They raised funds for me. When I say me, the agency, they raised funds, they raised food, they did a rummage sale. We started the agency with $500 raised from a rummage sale. They taught me how to incorporate the agency. They started helping me to Stan and Joyce Heddleston, who still work with us to this day, started help teaching me how to write proposals. They wrote proposals for us. And Jane Cater, who's no longer living, along with Margarita Adelman and Jill Adelman, end up convincing Paul Kelly at the time to help me to buy my own building, because I was, getting, they were calling, and this was the church, the ones that moved to Beacon. They was, calling the health inspector on me, calling the fire inspector on me, but it turned out for the good. They end up, two of the members, along with Mike Kelly from, at that time, it was US Bank, or I can't remember the name of the bank, Oak Park Bank, Bank of Oak Park. They end up buying us a building on the corner of Mason and Lake Street and Mason. So they bought us a building.
What year was that, Cynthia? What year did you get your building?
I want to say maybe 1980, maybe 88, 89. I'm gonna look because I need to remember that date.
So it sounds like it was almost 10 years in, and
Yes.
8 or 9 years, 10 years
Yes,
in,
yes.
that you got a building.
Yeah.
So how many of the people were actually the full-time workers back then, and how did that evolve?
Back then, I started off as a volunteer, and I became the first full-time or part-time program coordinator at that time. And then later, I was promoted by the same group. My board was still made up of members of Third Unitarian Church with some community members. So I started off as the first full-time person running the program, but I wasn't the chief executive operator at that time. I was just like a helpline coordinator, but then was later promoted to it. And I got $2.70 an hour for working.
So can you just give people a picture of how big you are now and how many, how your board and your staff works now? Just fast forward a little bit.
Okay, fast forward, we were able to get some additional staff through grants. So in one building that's located at 5931 West Corcoran, we run a workforce development center out of there. And we have about, let's say 10 staff that work there. And that project is funded by ComEd, the state of Illinois. We do a workforce development program. So that's about a $2 million project totally for that program. Then we operate a WIC food store. We're the first non-for-profit organization that has ever been allowed to manage a WIC food store by Catholic Charities. So Catholic Charities don't necessarily run it. We manage it and we run it, and they provide the resources that we need in order to run the store. So we're now probably close to I would say about from $500 raised from a rummage sale to now to maybe about a $5 million organization. But 5 million seems like a lot, but it's not, because most of our funds that we receive are restricted to certain programs. We can only do certain things, and we have to meet certain criteria and certain goals and deliverables that we have to meet. So we're fairly large now. We just got a contract where we can employ 250 youth from the ages of 16 to 24. We can pay them $15 an hour. I told you what I made, $2.70 for a reason. And we fought hard because just last year, we were only able to pay them $7.75 an hour. So now we're able to pay them $15 an hour. But the challenge we have there, and we're doing more than just getting them a job. We're doing job readiness. We're helping them to write resumes. We're helping them to, we're doing Zoom classes. We're doing making sure they're all safe and healthy, COVID checks, and making sure they can, get access to health care. So it's more to that we're doing. We also got a special grant that we're working with street involved youth, which is my most challenging program. I have about 30 youth that are street involved. When I say street involved, they're still in gangs, and we're trying to get them out. Most of them were referred by some of the families that we've had to bury their babies. So the brothers and sisters, we're trying to get them off the street and hire them. So right now we got them at home, and we're doing Zoom classes with them. When we feel it's safe and they're ready to come back out on the street. I mean, we can't stop them, but I pay them 4 hours a day to do Zoom classes to stay at home and to different, teachers or mentors, speak to them about different issues. So we're doing that.
Can I just stop you there? Because I
Yes.
think people in our group might be very interested in that program. And how do you have volunteers at all? Do you have tutoring, any kind of programs that people with specific skills that you're looking for? I mean, maybe stopping you just to talk a little bit more about that program, because I know it's one that people in our group would be very
Well, you know
interested
what we
in
really
what to
need?
do.
I'm sorry, I'm just got to do this right quick. We're actually having church service right now, and they're asking me, do I want to come out? But I just told them I can't right now. But that program, you asked me a question to talk a little bit more about it.
Well, yeah, and how people, like, say we have people in our community who might be teachers or even
Yes,
professors.
we really truly need help with that, because what's happening now, the kids can't go back to school. So just think, if I got 250 kids that I'm trying to provide jobs for, number one, I can hire them and pay them, but I also need to place them somewhere. And it's hard with all the, a lot of the places around here, of course, they're looting up their own neighborhood, which that's a whole nother question, another problem. But we have to find them a place to place them so that they can work. So that's been one of our challenges. We do COVID tests. We do all that to make sure that they're, healthy and can be around others. But I'm having problems placing them. And then those who have to do Zoom classes, we do Zoom classes for everybody 2 days a week. We tell them to stay home, and for 4 hours, we're going to talk to you for 2 hours. You'll get paid for another 2 hours if you do the homework assignment that person gave you. So you'll get paid for it. So we really need teachers. And each day that we do Zoom or whenever we do it, if we have volunteers to come up with a subject to talk to them about whatever, violence prevention, how to budget, how to, just whatever subject that they have in school, they still need, and so we really need a lot of help with that. That's a little, especially men.
If we can figure out how to coordinate that, I think there'll be a lot of interest in our community and getting people engaged in that. So I wanted to just ask you more about the pandemic and how that has affected the community and what your APAC does in the area of helping people cope with this. I mean, everybody's struggling, but I know that the resources, the health resources and everything are challenged.
It is. It's really that's really challenging, because we have to make sure that everybody that comes here, we still have a grocery store that women have to come here for their milk, formula. The seniors, we give out food boxes to over 800 some seniors, which have trouble coming here as well, because some of them can't come out, and we have to make sure that they're healthy when they come in. So it's been real challenging trying to provide the services for them, and the majority of them need a lot of PPE supplies. They don't have the disinfect wipes. They don't have the the normal stuff that we think who would ever thought toilet paper was going to be a commodity that we needed. We know we needed, but it was rare and couldn't get it. And they're going up on all of those products. So even if they're available now, bleach, a bottle of bleach is now $3.89, almost $4. Hand sanitizer is about $4.99. So paper towel, $12 or $15 for 4 or 6 sometimes. So that, any help with any time of cleaning supplies is desperately needed, along with, masks. We find ourselves constantly buying facial masks, and now we're being told the ones that they need everybody need, all of us, is not the cloth, is the KN95. Those are the ones that truly work. So, we're just trying to keep them safe, and keeping them safe, we keep all of us safe. We're also running a COVID hotline. So I get the calls of people who've just been diagnosed with it, and then they're being told to go home, but then they don't have the money to get the supplies that they need to stay in the house for 14 days. So we've been trying to get enough supplies where we can get it and then drop it off at their homes. And so it's a new norm, it's a new challenge, and it's it has been really kind of depressing for a whole lot of us. But we've just now been able to offer mental health counseling for those who need it. And we can see that it is, because we got some of our staff who they got to come to work, but they're fearful, their anxiety level is like, okay, and I just tell people, you don't know everybody, we all have it. And we don't know who has it. So we just have to be careful, practice good social distancing, wash our hands, we're constantly stopping, making sure everybody stop. All our staff have hand washing breaks. Who would think we're constantly telling adults, remember to wash your hands, so we're all on the edge, just trying to make sure we're safe. And we're also trying to make sure our babies are safe. We just did COVID testing yesterday for babies now, because now we're seeing a high increase of babies and children and pregnant women. So we're doing special testing for that population. And we know what that's, again, it leads to them needing more help and classes on hygiene.
Just because some of us really, are not as aware as we should be of, what the health resources are in the Austin community. I mean, the clinics, the hospitals, the medical care in general. I mean, how do you help connect people? And do they use the resources of Oak Park? I mean,
yeah, we're working with PCC, which is located on Lake Street in Austin, and it's also it's located near Lake and Central. And then we work with PCC in Oak Park, which is closer to Austin, and can't think of the other street, but yeah, we're able to get. Now it's a little bit easier to get people referred to for doctor's care. We also have a doctor on staff and a nurse on staff that work with us for COVID testing, and also referral for mental health issues, because we're seeing it in some of our young people who have been traumatized by seeing all this killing. We're seeing it like I'm seeing you now. I get the calls, I get the pictures. Here's what happened, here's how he got killed, and here's a picture of him. And those are things I have to look at and be knowledgeable about. Why did that killing just happen? And so I'm learning what a lot of this is all centered around. And so we are working with some of the known gang members who, by the way, respect me. I just thank God that, I have a great relationship with them, and I have to, because if we, they bring their babies here to get fed, so I'm not worried about anything. They don't bother me or anything, but they got a lot of needs that need to be met. Right now their campaign is Black Jobs Matter, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find them jobs. We're trying to get them off the street. I mean, we're living around people, and I'm just going to talk about Black people for right now, that are fed up and tired of not having the basic human needs. When I started this organization 40 years ago, if you look at my mission will really say people need, it's just real simple. They need to have their basic human needs met. They need food. And when they don't have access to food, there was a while when we didn't even have access to fresh produce. We couldn't get it. There was housing. There was still a time that they don't have places to stay. They have to stay with their grandmothers and their grandparents, and and then they're making it unsafe for them because you got 10 and 15 people staying in one house. So housing, that's all they needed is housing. Then you have jobs. There isn't any jobs for them. They don't have money. They want money to have the same things everybody else have. This young population, they want their hair done. They want their nails done. They want the new shoes, just like any of our teenage kids want. They have a want for that. Education. If I told you half of the kids that have to sign their checks don't even know how to sign their checks and don't even know how to do currency writing, would you believe that? And they're coming out of school. These are 16 to 24-year-olds that went to school, and we're finding ourselves teaching this population all over again. But going back to what I said, if you give people basic human needs, what they have a right to, food, housing, job, education, that's all they want. If they had that 40 years ago, that's what I've been working for all these many years, to be able to provide those resources. But you know how many times we've struggled with the state to even get paid? There's been some time the state wouldn't pay us for 2 years in a row. My father had mortgaged his house. We have borrowed money to try to meet our payroll when the state couldn't, 2 years ago when the state didn't have a budget. We still here, we still standing. My staff didn't leave me.
So tell us, I think people have gotten a very in a very short period of time, a real picture of urgent need, across the board. I want to let you talk about some of your huge successes and the fact that you're at the 40-year mark right now in terms of, celebrating. I want to, recognize that and what an achievement that is.
I cannot believe I'm at 40 years. I just cannot believe it. I just showed a volunteer a picture of me. She said, "Is that you?" I said, I was a little girl on that picture when we first started with some of the Unitarian church members. And just to look back at from where I started with $500 raised from a rummage sale, selling clothes out of the church, and just being surrounded by all of, a lot of mentors. I got my help from the church, and I'll never, ever forget it. And where I'm at now, I mean, I didn't have the skills. I didn't know how to write grants. I just was doing what I was raised to do, is to help anybody in need. So I didn't even know that I was forming a non-for-profit organization. But we have a lot of success. If you come here now, you will see some of the young people who started in our Young Minds program here working. You will see laughter out there, and I'm looking at them out there. You will see laughter out there. You will see some people who've been with me since for 18 and 20 years. One of the clients who came to my first Young Moms club in 1980 is still working for me, and she's the chief operating officer. We won a solar contract to train people in the solar industry. We've graduated a number of youth. We've put a lot of people to work. It's just so much can share with you, but I was supposed to retire at my 40th year, and then came COVID, and then came this. I was going to retire and be a consultant like everybody else do. I didn't know that I would now I'm working when I say working in the trenches, I'm no longer in the office. I'm face to face with it. I'm
Yeah.
I'll probably die doing
How
it.
do you keep yourself sane and everybody else around you? You don't sleep, it seems.
I don't. I'm learning how to do that. I'm learning. It's hard. I'm just learning how to do it. It's difficult to do.
So so we want to be building a partnership with you in whatever ways that evolves. I wanted to maybe move to that and talk a little bit more about partnering and where how that maybe more the how than the what. Like how would we, we're doing the PPE campaign right now at West Suburban. We're gathering supplies. We're trying to raise some money.
Okay.
Beyond that, I think people would really like to get more involved, and get to know people and be involved in some way in some kind of mentoring and teaching and other activities. So how do we do that? What's the way forward for us? I mean, I think that's a mutual discussion that we have to have as well, but.
And what you name is all of the above what we need. But what we certainly, I'm sure in your congregation, you have a wealth of expertise and knowledge. We look, we're all in this together. So you pretty much can say, this is what I do. So I know I can help with this. I mean, we need help with everything, especially somebody helping me with the Zoom classes. I could do more Zoom classes if, I had a teacher or somebody that was willing to engage in come up with a subject or, what. And we got a list of them. You can pick from the things that we know that they need based on, some of the skill level that we have.
Great. Okay, so if you send us the list, we'll send it around. And so we're getting the question too about job placements. What is the success there?
Well,
how do we potentially help you with that?
Okay, let me just say this. The 16 to 24-year-olds that we have working here now, right now, I got them all up under me. They're here because I don't have any other place to send them. So right now, that I really wish they can get out and get some more skills. Let's say, for instance, if your church, you needed somebody at your church to do some filing in the office, or if you needed them to do maintenance, or if you needed them to do programs or newsletters, or some of these kids are very smart too. They can help with, whatever. If any of you have companies, I can place them at your company for 13 weeks and pay them $15 an hour. We even tell them during this time, you can even, for those that we're doing Zoom classes with that street and vibe, of course, they're a special population. What we're making them do, you're going to stay at home and you're going to clean your grandmother's garage up. You're going to mow your grandmama's lawn and we're going to pay you for it. So that's the kind of stuff we do as well. So the kids we will refer to you, if you can had a place for them to work for 13 weeks, would be COVID check. These are kids that are not involved in the streets. These are just kids waiting to go to college, waiting for somebody to call them back. And then some of you might want to talk to some of the do Zoom classes with some of the street involved youth.
Absolutely. So we're getting several questions all about opportunities. And that includes, do you have someone who teaches yoga or meditation in your population? It sounds like somebody.
No, and that sounds like I would be the first person to sign up.
Okay.
And my staff, and my entire staff.
And gardening. There's an interest in gardening.
We have a lot that we need somebody to help us to put a garden. We have lots of space, huge lot. And we tried our hands at it, but we need some help.
Okay, I think we got,
we do
you're
have a
we're
place.
talking to people. What I wanted to maybe suggest that we do right now in this, I've been getting some questions, but I think maybe most productive might be for us to go around in this group.
Yeah, that would be
and
great.
Introduce
Let me tell
ourselves.
you this one thing that I left out is so much. We're putting together a safe house now. We have two. One, we don't have anybody living in it, but we do a respite program. We used to before COVID came, but now we're trying to get the houses back. We're just using it to store stuff right now. But we want to do a respite program. We were picking up babies who moms were just tired or were leaving them in the car, in their car seat while they go into the lounge. And, you know, so we knew who those women were. We were picking them up and giving them breaks. We have a place that we take those babies to. So we're going to start that in another month. So any baby items and clothes or baby package stuff, you know, that we can give them, but we're going to be putting together two houses to house those individuals.
I think if you email Phyllis, me, or Carol,
Okay.
or some of the other active people, whenever you have a need like that, we can start to share it and let people know that there is that need. And I know Phyllis, we'll turn it over back to Phyllis for, you know, she's got the whole child baby need thing down, and so do several other people on this call. Like, we've got, you know, we can keep you in some supplies. So I think it might be beneficial as we're starting to try to build this partnership, that we go around and maybe talk, each of us, as to like what inspires you, what you might be interested in getting a little bit more involved with in terms of connecting with Austin People's Action Council, or you just want to, you know, think about it for a while. That's cool too. So obviously I am super interested in building this relationship. So I will turn it over. Phyllis, do you want to we'll go around who's on the call. We have 27 people on this Zoom, which is great.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so you want me to start?
Sure, yeah, why don't you start, Phyllis?
Okay, well, I'm listening to all the things. You keep telling us more things that you do. I mean, a big garden is too much, but we do have a garden, Cynthia, at on the temple grounds, and we donate to the food pantry in a park. So I'm not the greatest gardener, but I know how to water. I know how to plant. And there are some people connected to our congregation and the Social Action Committee who actually are connected with another group, master gardeners, and I don't know whether they need hours to garden, and so if we get them hooked and that would be great. They haven't responded to our garden, but ours is a little one, so if you got a garden and they can develop it, that might work. So I'm going to contact them.
Please do.
The other thing I do is I'm a psychologist with 4 toes in retirement and 1 still working. And but I also, my expertise is working with moms and children and babies. So whatever we can talk, however I can get connected with that, maybe I can, you know, people have access to the internet and I can Zoom some sort of support.
Absolutely. We need to do a chit chat with our young moms and their babies, their moms. So we could definitely do a Zoom.
Okay,
I'll just endorse Phyllis on this one because she came and did a program with me back about 6 or 7 years ago, and she had everybody playing. You know, it was attachment therapy. It was really amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe should I call on people? That'll make it a little easier and smoother. The Applebaum, I see Bev's name, but I see Maury's face.
I wonder if Cynthia, if you ever work with Faith in Place, If you familiar with them?
Faith in Place?
Yes.
No.
They're a group that's actually been around for a number of years, and they work with different faith-based communities
Okay.
to work on more green ways of doing things. But they definitely have programs and also grants to help with gardening,
Oh, wow.
solar energy, and a lot of other things. And I can get you in touch with some of the people in that group. I can send you information on that.
Okay, great, great. Okay, good.
And also, I volunteer at a yoga studio, and I'll talk to the owners there about perhaps trying to see if we can set up and help you with some yoga classes.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Sandra. I think Sandra could talk about for another 20 minutes, but I'm just going to give her a few.
Well, I'll be kind of brief. What I can do and will do is put you in touch with other organizations that possibly could help, and where you could come and talk briefly. But I also wondered if you have relationships with the Community Justice Center, which, and I'm on that steering committee and have been, and they do have a lot of set programming right now for youth through Zoom, and I assume they would be happy to do that. Certainly, you can reach out, or I could bring it up at the next Zoom meeting that we will have. I'm just flabbergasted at all of the things that you do, and there are numerous organizations in Oak Park and in Austin as well, where people trip over each other and everything is in silos.
Yeah.
And I think this is a wonderful opportunity, and I appreciate being able to be part of this Zoom, because we all need to work together, all of us, for the good of everyone. And so hopefully this will really work. We have done a variety of things in terms of reaching out, at least at Oak Park Temple, Social Action Committee, and some things have worked, some things have not worked. Community Justice Center, we did a garden in Austin, and the owner of the lot, who agreed to it, totally ripped it up, where we had community people planting food, etc. Had another program that didn't work with a school. And so let's hope that this one does work, with a lot of different folks working together and with specific kinds of needs, and where we all have some expertise. I have none about little children for 52 years, so forget that one. I can't help there. And I'm happy to talk to you offline as well, Cynthia.
Okay, good, good. Okay.
So let me bring in a few more people. Hillary, are you?
I'm here.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for taking the time. Clearly, you're in great demand. And it's just really impressive what you and your organization have done. So thank you. I think I'm not 100% sure exactly where I can directly participate best. I'm both an educator and an academic advisor, and just found out recently I might be going back full time in the fall. So I want to be reasonable about what I can do. But I think things like financial literacy is really important for young people. And I don't know if you have a class like that. So I'd really like to see the classes you're currently doing. And I am concerned as we head back into school, and our students, a lot of them are going to be taking classes on Zoom. As someone who thinks a lot about mathematics and things of that sort, I think it's going to be important maybe to have additional tutoring or help with these students. So I don't know how well they're equipped. I'm hoping everyone has the computer and internet access they need. But if not, we need to make sure that's the case. And then I think
we have someone working on that. Yes.
Okay, good. And then I think after that, I think that helping with tutoring, which obviously probably needs to be done by Zoom, is something I'd be interested in helping coordinate, because I think that the classroom by itself is going to be limited for everyone. And that's it, but thank you.
Great, great.
Thank you. Good.
Cindy?
Hi, we share a name, but you have, I'm very impressed with the work you've done, and congratulations on getting to 40 years. And clearly that your work is never done. I work at UIC, and I am somewhat of an educator and an administrator. My field is sustainability, so environmental sustainability. I can certainly, depending on your needs and your students' needs, the youth's needs, look at what I could contribute in terms of a Zoom class or something like that. I work with Phyllis on the garden, and you know, would be able to perhaps work with her to coordinate what resources we could bring in to get a garden going there. I think working with the youth to do that, you know, it's a great opportunity for them, as long as we've got the right expertise to build that up.
Absolutely.
And neither of us are professionals there, or trained, but I think we could perhaps do the coordination. So yeah, I'd love to be involved in some way.
Great.
Just got a question from Judy, so I'll let Judy ask about that herself.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you need help where some of these kids in the 16 to 24 range are. You know, are they working are they in high school? Do they need to finish a GED? Could they get, you know, would they be interested in a community college? Like, what would they like to do? And could we help them with an application or focus on where they'd like to be? And I mean, I'd be glad to work more I'm not a teacher, but I'd be glad to work with anyone on, you know, figuring out what they want to do, or on an application, or could they get financial aid, and just explore that world a bit.
Yes, the need, all of the above, just what you just mentioned. If I can, we have folders on each one of our kids, and if they need everything that you just mentioned, some of them want to go back to school, some of them need their GED, some of them are getting ready for college, but you know, we had to put a hold on that, you know, so they still need to be getting prepared. They still need to be looking at what schools they want to go to. They just kind of got falling through the cracks, to be honest with you. I mean, they missed their proms, they missed their graduation, so to speak. It's like they don't really have, I don't have enough help, because everybody is, you know, everything is closed, so nobody's really talking to the kids. So we have all of that as a need. We got 16-year-olds that now scared to go back to school, you know, so we got a lot, you know, we got a mixture of all the kids that you just mentioned, the population. We certainly can use help.
So there was a question about transportation available for the youth to get to jobs.
We give them, for the first 3 weeks, we give them car fare or a gas card. We do whatever is necessary. If you say they need certain type of equipment, certain type of shoes or working gloves, or if they need a shovel, when we get ready to do the gardening, they let us get them whatever they need to be able to do their job. We're able to buy it, even a Chromebook. We can get them a Chromebook. If they don't have internet access, we're working with Comcast, AT&T to do the internet hookup. So it's so much that's required to get these kids to even do Zoom class. We're even looking at, you know, those railroad containers that they're making these little mobile houses out of. They gave me, I may have enough money to buy 2 of those. I'm hoping I can get them donated. And we're going to place them on different parking lots that we have, or different lots that we own, so we can do small mobile classrooms. So I'm trying to put that together. I haven't yet, but because I can't have all the kids in here at one time, I'm needing to figure out how to spread them around according to social distancing. We can only have 10 in a class. So yeah, I'm trying to figure that one out too.
So let me call on a few more people. I think there are about 5 or 6 more maybe even more, but let me try to call on everybody so they can bring out different things that they're interested in and maybe tell you a little bit more about them in terms of, you know, what they might have to offer to you guys. Samantha?
Hi. I'm with secular Jewish community in school, and I think probably where we could connect. I have a lot of baby stuff that I don't need anymore because my kids are a little bit older, and there's other people in our community that probably have that stuff. So we would be interested in helping put together the respite.
Good.
Yeah. So. Are there any restrictions on what you can accept? Can things be used, or they need to be new?
They can be used, but we only take used clothing from people that we know.
Okay.
So I'm sure you would make sure that they're, you know, COVID, you know, we're spraying them with Lysol and all of that, but definitely they still need used and any type of baby clothes. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Alan? Was there anything else, Samantha? Sorry, I didn't want to.
No, that's it. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for
Alan?
speaking to us.
Alan Hofstadter?
Sorry, guys, technology. No, I just, wow. I just saw this opportunity at about 9 o'clock this morning and just jumped on. Because of my lack of mobility, the things I would like to do, I can't go to. I live like a couple of 100 feet from Austin Boulevard, so I'm right next to the neighborhood. I'll let us coalesce a little more and see where I can fit in. But I'm really pleased that I got to see this today. Very much so. Taking notes furiously.
Excellent. Judy Wolfman?
First, I'd like to thank you, Cynthia, for sharing with us today. Having been somewhat neighbors, having lived out in the Oak Park River Forest area, now in the city, you know, certainly you have met a need, and that need sounds like it's ever growing. In terms of specifics of what I might be able to do, I think if any kind of tutoring program is organized, helping the kids with homework or preparation for GEDs, I certainly could assist with that. Can't say that I'm directly connected for jobs, but we would like to continue to support you and your organization. And thank you so much for sharing everything that you've been doing and sharing this knowledge with us.
Judith Roth?
Sorry, couldn't unmute. I'm fairly new to the community, and so I don't have, unfortunately, the contacts for jobs and things like that. I do have time and could do some Zoom tutoring if that's connected. Not really a teaching background, but a lot of education, so I could do some of that. The gardening, I'm not in physical shape to do right now, maybe in the future. Got my foot in a boot. So that's where I could help. And I really think it's exciting what you're doing, Cynthia, and I'll tell all my friends about the PPE and see what I can do in that just to get more collected.
Okay, great.
Alan Paris?
Been thinking about it. My first reaction was, well, you know, need to contemplate a lot more. But I guess my question is, with the job program, Cynthia, are these jobs just for the summer or throughout the year?
Well, right now our contract is into October. So
Okay.
each youth get to spend 13, I want to say 13 weeks. We pay them for 13 weeks at $15 an hour to work in different fields. And we have to find them a place to work. If not, they're here with me at the center until I can figure out where to place them. And normally, I'm almost positive they're going to continue the program because we started in the summer. We started a couple of months ago. This is a new extension, so I think it'll continue on. But right now we go into October.
Okay. I'm retired, so I don't personally have any opportunity to employ somebody, but I was starting to think through, kind of local Facebook groups and neighbors, there's lots of people that have small businesses and, if you've got a job where somebody is already paid for,
yes,
it might be a lot more enticing. So if I can get more information through Diane or Phyllis or whoever, I'd be glad to try to figure out if I can make some connections for you.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to put you in touch with our director of workforce development.
That'd be great.
All about it. Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting two questions that are going to be music to your. One is, how can people write a check and where should they send it if they were interested in just writing a check?
If they write a check, they can just write it to APAC, APAC. And if they need a tax letter or tax, donation receipt, just let us know what the gift is worth or the check. We're 501c3, we're tax exempt. So whatever you need, if you need, a donation receipt.
And what's the address they should use?
5125 West Chicago Avenue.
Okay, and great.
I'm going to jump in here because I think all of you know that we've got a fund at Har Zion for you to send money to Har Zion so that it's coming from this group. Cynthia, I think I wanted you.
Oh, okay.
You would know we want you to get the money anyway, but whatever. But to know that out of our efforts came some funds for you, and so you can donate straight to the center if you want. But if you also want, you can donate to Har Zion and send to the
Absolutely, I would love it that way.
Send to the Social Action Fund, and we're taking money from the Social Action Fund, and we will be sending the center money from that. Just so you know where it's coming from, and I'm going to let you know that it's coming from all three of the Jewish communities here in the.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And Phyllis, if they donate through the synagogue, if you're doing it online, just make sure there's like a note box. Make sure that you designate that it is for APAC, so it doesn't just get lost and put into the general, fund.
What's even better is if those of you know Sheila Essig, who's our office manager, if you send her an email and say you are going to be getting these funds through the website, it's to go to APAC.
Let me call on Barb Young and let me make sure that I didn't miss any other people who might want to ask you questions or tell you how they might want to be helping out. Barb?
Yeah, so thank you, Phyllis, Diane, Cynthia, you are amazing. You're like a real live hero and an inspiration to all of us. So stay strong and continue doing what you're doing. My name is Barbara Young. I am probably 2 or 3 years away from retirement too, but I'm a bankruptcy attorney.
Okay.
And so I think if anybody needs bankruptcy counseling, I don't charge for initial consultations at all. So I can share with you, or Phyllis can share with you my contact information, and sometimes that's helpful. And maybe I can work with Hillary and we can do some of that financial education.
Great, that's neat. Yes.
Yeah. So that's what I would say. Again, I don't really have jobs for anyone, and I'm not a gardener either, but on a Zoom call, I can talk a storm. So.
Well, with bankruptcy issues, we got that as a problem. Remember, a lot of these people have been put out of work. They don't have jobs and they don't have money, and they're trying to figure out what to do. They're staying in their apartments and due to be evicted, and because of the eviction moratorium, they're safe for now, but all of that is needed, everything that you're saying. And I appreciate each and every one of you. You just made my job much, much easier. And
now we have to just organize it. So I just want to, unfortunately, there are 4 or 5 more people who didn't get to speak. I think since it's noon, what I wanted to do is make sure that you all on this call email either me or Phyllis, and I'm going to turn it over to Phyllis to give her email, but mine is dianeredleaf@gmail.com. So please email me, and because so we can get back in touch with you and keep this organized, and get a list of everybody who wants to be involved and how they want to be involved, and we'll try to organize that at our end. We are still, and Phyllis, you want to talk about the drive and other things, ways to get involved? Well, and your own email that everybody will have that.
Sure. So for those of you who don't know, it's Phyllis.Rubin, RUBIN, at Comcast.net. Yes, so we're continuing our drive for the PPE till the end of August. Cynthia, I think we'll get you what we got already, but okay, we want to get you more. So if you heard Cynthia, it's Lysol spray, Lysol wipes, all these cleaning supplies and disinfecting supplies, hand sanitizer, bleach, water, bottles of water, and face masks. I want to tell you, Cynthia, the N95 or whatever they are, they are the best, but not everybody can get the best.
No, you're right. We can't. Yeah.
And the other ones, if both, yes, right. If we're wearing other ones, they're good too. So I've got, I think, 70 cloth masks that the team from Oak Park Temple and the Secular Jewish Community and Har Zion have made for you, including disposable ones. That's in the bucket. And then you said paper towels, toilet paper, all those things people can use. And so whatever cleaning supplies you can find. My suggestion would be, if you're going to the store anyway for yourself, buy one thing, buy one item, and bring it to the temple, put it in the bin by the kitchen door on the south end of it's the south end, right, of the building, on the little landing. There's a big bin for stuff, and we will take it to Cynthia. If you don't want to get to the temple, email me, email Carol Flank. We will come pick it up. We'll come pick it up from you. We're not so spread out. So let us know. And we've got I kept a list of the things people said they could possibly do. If you can also, you don't have to, but if you have some money to spare, donate so that we can also send them some funds.
So Phyllis, there was a request for Cynthia's email also, and also a request from someone, if possible, a list of the classes that you're doing so that we
could. Yeah, we're going to pull that together.
Yeah, that would be great. Put your email so people who have thoughts down. Yep. So how do people reach you, Cynthia?
Actually, you can reach me. Here's my email address. SISTUH2 SISTUH sister2sister@aol.com. Sister to sister. So it's a sister with a 2 in the middle and another sister, sister to sister. And my number, feel free to call me at 312-217-7478. That's 312-217-7478. And feel free to email me at any time or text me or call me.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Phyllis, did you have more? I just thought maybe we would just open it up at the very end to anyone who didn't speak, who wants to say anything. I'm sorry I didn't get to call on Rabbi Merelman.
Yeah, may I say a word?
Sure.
Thank you for everything you're doing, Cynthia, and all the volunteers from the 3 groups in the Jewish community. It's wonderful. I would suggest, in addition to sending all the recommendations or suggestions, individual suggestions, and the list of positions for volunteer, also to put very clearly the address for monetary donations for checks, in addition to sending it through the synagogue, but some might want to send it directly to APAC. And so have all the details of the address and so on. And thank you, and may you go first from strength to strength in this.
Thank you.
Cynthia, this was wonderful, just wonderful. Oh my gosh. And Diane, you did a great job of, I love that we all could actually talk about what we might be able to offer. I want to tell you, Cynthia, I want to try to be really brief, but I got inspired yesterday. I don't know if you know that what we do at our services is across 3 years, we read through the whole Old Testament. The whole thing in 3 years, you know. So yesterday's chapter that we read a third of, it starts with, "This day I set before you as a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing if you obey the commandments, and it's a curse if you don't." One of the principles that we're supposed to follow is follow the principles of economic justice. I think that is so appropriate to today.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Because we know that, we're talking about helping Austin because they're a community that has not had economic justice or racial justice or social justice. And so among other communities, but this is our neighbor. And we really are obliged to give and to be happy about giving. And I know when I give, I feel so much better having given. So we can all give in different ways. Again, if you go to the store and buy a bottle of bleach and bring it to the bin, that's giving. And it's going to be appreciated because every little bit counts because everybody else does a little bit. And if everybody does a little bit, it adds up to a big bit. Something that really can make a difference. So I'm going to say that if we each can do one thing every day to further the cause of economic, racial, and social justice, our days can be a blessing. And to that, I would say thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank all of you. I appreciate it.
Be in touch.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch, Cynthia.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Save the chat. Okay, good.
So you're saving the chat? Good.
Save the chat.
Great. Great.
Okay. Thank you, Diane. This is wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you,
Oh,
Phyllis.
you're welcome. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It was really great.
Thanks. This is great.
Talk to you all.
Okay.